Welcome to lesson one of Who Am I? And hopefully by the end of these lessons, when you devote time for yourself and you get to sit down and dig deeper into who you are, you will have not only some insights, but I am betting my money on the fact that some of you are going to also have some aha moments, some wonderful aha moments about your personality, about your sense of identity, which I think, when we have those aha moments, I think not only are they incredibly valuable in helping us learn about ourselves, but especially when we have aha moments using our friends. Can I just call tarot and oracle cards our friends? Because they truly are. It makes our practice, our spiritual practice with these tools, so much more enriched. When we start to really see this amazing, deeper internal benefit out of these tools, they become absolutely invaluable to so many of us. So I'm really, really excited you're here. Before we get to the fun class, I always say, because it's my favorite lesson to do for all of you, is sharing with you how to choose oracle and tarot decks within your collection for this particular type of class. But before we get there, and before we get to how to use your workbooks the best way you can possibly get, let's talk about identity, right? So that you have, I want to give you, as a psychologist especially, I want to give you a little bit more meat for you to really think about, for you to roast throughout this class, because identity is huge. When we say self-identity, I think a lot of us have a feeling we understand that concept. And I also think that a lot of us at the same time feel as if it's so broad and so large that sometimes we have to sit with the idea of, well, what exactly is self-identity? What does it mean to say, I am this? What does it even imply? Where those things are coming from? Self-identity that comprises our aspect of who we are, in my experience, tends to primarily be drawn from three areas of our lives: how we self identify, and how we self identify, which is, I would say, pillar number one. How we self identify is composed of life experiences, it is composed of our history, it is composed of our background, it is composed of our relationships. Pillar number two, how the world sees us. It's not only how the world sees us, but the world and people in the world are constantly giving us messages, whether they are verbal or nonverbal, about who we are, whether people project onto us the way they see us, or whether people are giving us a sense of validation, whether people are complimenting us or giving us any kind of feedback about ourselves, or praising us for doing a good job or scolding us for doing a bad job. Those things still, one way or another, get internalized into our sense of identity. And then there is a third pillar, which is our unconscious self. It is part of ourself that we're not really fully yet aware of. You know, those moments you have when you're doing something or you're going through experiences in your life, and suddenly you have this big, I had no idea I was good at this, or I had no idea this comes natural to me. Well, those are big aha moments coming from parts of our unconscious that we're just now getting in touch with. So when I think about self-identities, those are the three major pillars that come to mind: our internal idea of who we are, the externally, what we've been told, verbally again or non-verbally, of who we are, and also our unconscious self. So when I sat down to create this class and to think about the questions that are going to help you, and especially think about very special spreads, because if you've taken any of my a la carte classes, you noticed the spreads that I create have very specific theme, very specific, I would say, focus, center focus. They're not just as above, so below, mind, body, spirit type of spreads. Although those are also wonderful and have their place, but they're very strategically designed. So when I set out to create this workbook, I hope you have downloaded it with me on a cover, your model, Nat. You would have seen that they are also very purposefully designed. So when I was creating this again, I was thinking about those three pillars of identity. One of the things I want you to keep in mind about self-identity is that self-identity is fluid. Even our parts of personality and our parts of our character and temperament are fluid too. I know that a lot of people like to believe that your personality is set. It is set and it will not change. And that is not true. What's true is that there's definitely parts of who you are, parts of your personality or character that may continue to be set, may continue to be, what's the word that I'm looking for? Um, I had that word in my head and it escaped me, but going to continue to be the same throughout your lifetime. And then there's parts of your personality that you may have had some traits in childhood, but in your adulthood have evolved into something else and became much more fluid. So I want you to keep in mind that you are interchangeable. Think of yourself, think of your identity of who you are as constantly ongoing. The image that I'm getting is this beautiful circle. Circle is very appropriate because Jung saw circle and hence mandala drawings as the essence of the soul. So think of a circle that has this beautiful colors in it, and sometimes the colors will change, just like the mood rings. Do you remember those mood rings? I think from back when 90s that you would wear, and depending on your mood, it will change color from purple to blue to green. Well, it's like that, except that it's not changing because of the mood. It changes because you are changing. You are constantly evolving as a person. You're going to evolve as a product of taking this class. You're going to evolve by answering even one or two or three questions out of 48 questions you have. And you're going to evolve because every time we look within ourselves, every time we open up ourselves and we take a peek inside, we learn things about ourselves. When we learn things about ourselves, our perception, our paradigms, our view of how we see ourselves takes a shift. As it takes a shift, it changes. So I know for some people it might feel and sound like an overwhelming concept because you may be thinking, well, what's the point of figuring out who am I if I'm going to change and then I have to do it all over again? Well, not exactly. Like I said, there's going to be part of you that are not going to change. And change that I'm speaking of takes time. It really does. Believe it or not, we as human beings are creatures of habit. And being habituated to perceive things a particular way, being habituated to respond and react in a particular way, which are all parts and essence of who we are and our identity, those things are take a while to break or to change. If change was easy for us, if we were so prone to easily change who we are, a lot of us would be giving up a lot of our bad habits that we don't want to have. Maybe your habit is you sometimes get up in the middle of the night and you got to have the chocolate chip cookie. Maybe your habit is to have a little too many glasses of wine. Maybe your habit is once you start buying a tarot deck, you can't stop. Whatever it is, maybe some habits you want to modify or you want to change. And if you notice, if you reflect back in your life, you will realize they're not so easy to change. So, this class is important because it's going to help you get a better understanding of who you are right now. And it's going to give you the better understanding to self reflect and ask yourself, now that I have a better understanding of who I am, which parts of myself do I want to keep? Which parts of myself are benefiting me that I want to focus even more on? And which parts of myself are not so maybe good for me, not so positive that I want to work on breaking the habit out? This is why this class is so great. This class is also something that I would really encourage for you now that you have it for a lifetime. You have this guidebook for a lifetime. return to it, return to these questions. I would say probably every 6 months or every year. It's a great way to return to it, to see how much you've grown, to see how much you have changed, to see which parts of your personality are remaining to be the same and which parts of your personality are changing. So, welcome to the class. Really excited. You are going to dig deeper into who you are. I'd be curious to know how many of you have a really good grasp on who are you. So, if I were to ask you, who are you, would you be able to tell me? And what would you be able to tell me? Try this exercise actually at home. Write down maybe 20 words that you feel describe who you are. And then I encourage you to take a look at them. And what do those words have in common? Are you describing your values? Are you describing your emotional range? Are you describing your behaviors? Are you describing uh, aspects of your expression and aspects of your presentation? It's always very telling to see how we see ourselves, and it gives us a clue which things we're not seeing. But I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm really excited. So I'm looking forward to see you in a lesson number 2 where we are going to have so much fun. I have a ton of Oracle and Tarot decks from my personal collection that I think are perfect for this type of work. I'm going to give you ideas and criteria, suggestions, how to pick decks from your collection as well. I'm just reminding myself, I wore this coiled snake particularly for this class because it reminds me of how snakes shed their skin and how we are all together by taking this class are also preparing to shed, because to go through figuring out who you are, undoubtedly you are going to disregard some parts of your old self as you step into the new you. So I'm really excited, and I will see you all in class number 2.